Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. Jesus Christ. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Fantastic Comics. Sorry. You wanna...
Yeah, kinda.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of This Week in Comics. My name is Yule. I own Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California, and every week I run down books that I'm looking forward to. Do you like comic books? Because I love to talk about them. But first, very interesting top 5 this week with a surprise at number 1. Starting off at number 5 this week, we have Runaways number 13. A debut issue at number 4 with House of Whispers number 1. This is the Sandman Universe series that Neil Gaiman is overseeing. Settling in at number 3, we have Superman number 3. This is the Brian Michael Bendis written Superman series. An interesting development at number 2 where we see The Wicked and the Divine number 39 settle in. This is usually in the top spot, but taking the number 1 spot this week is Fantastic Four number 2. This is actually 2 months in a row where Fantastic Four has been the number 1 book for the week. It's obvious that Fantastic Four fever is running wild at Fantastic Comics. This is written by Dan Slott with art by Sarah Pichelli. Good job. Reviews this week include my new favorite book. This week I put a bunch of marbles in my mouth and read MCMLXXV, which stands for 1975, number 1, written by Joe Casey with art by Ian McEwan. And man, I gotta let you know, this is one of my brand new favorite books. I'm always looking forward to a Joe Casey book, hoping that I'm gonna love it like I have other things that he's done in the past. And man, this is a really good book, and I highly recommend everybody check it out. In Manhattan, we've got Pamela Evans, who's wise in the ways of the cabbie. She's also a monster hunter who drives said cab through them, or sometimes actually wields a magical crowbar when she's bashing them about the head. This is an excellent first issue for any reader of a brand new comic series. It does it right from the very get-go. We get thrust right into the action with Pamela as she drives her cab and wields her crowbar, and then later on we meet other characters within the book. We also get a really nice flashback scene where we see Pamela learning the ways of the cab. She's being taught by her grandfather. She's young, she's really full of herself, she knows she's going to be successful. She isn't though, and you know, even before we get to the flashback scene, that this is a fallible character, that she has experienced loss in her life, and then it is during that flashback that we see that that actually occurs. Not everything is told to us there, not everything is told to us in this issue, but there's a lot to go on, and we really can see what kind of a character she is, and that is exciting. I really appreciate it because a lot of books these days, a lot of comics, they really prop up their main characters as very, very successful. They don't have the negatives that like a lot of other characters do. It's very reminiscent of Peter Parker. Peter Parker is a guy who got spider powers and was very full of himself and had no interest in stopping the robber that ultimately kills his Uncle Ben. It feels just like this Pamela character. She's full of herself and she knows she's gonna get the job done. And she goes right on into it, and nothing good, it does not happen. Nothing good happens from that. And you can see that within this flashback. And even before the flashback, you know there was a lot of loss in her life. And that obviously I think is going to play out in future issues. Another thing I really like about this comic is Joe Casey. He writes great dialogue. It's very snappy, it's artfully done, it's kind of poetic in places. And then when you get to meet the character of Prefect Patterson, who is Pamela's hookup, he's also a DJ of a radio station and is very reminiscent of the Warriors and Lynn Thigpen, you know, kind of letting you know what music they're playing. it's kind of like the soundtrack to the comic book. It also helps with the transitions of the scenes and lets you know what's going on, you know, a little bit extra than just what we're seeing on the page. Also, there's the scene within the garage when she comes back with her cab and it's totaled. I really enjoy, you know, her boss saying that you go out, you're gonna drive cab, and you come back with this modern art piece. You know, it's funny stuff. I really like it. Feels like a real scene that someone might actually say, even though it's within the confines of this like ridiculous concept of demons and mystical cab drivers and stuff like that. Forget about all those Roman numerals. I'm gonna call this one 1975. It's easier for me that way. I recommend picking this book up. It's definitely the book I liked most that I read this week, and like I said in the beginning, going forward, I'm definitely going to be collecting this one. I promised you I'd read Superman number 3, and I did. Thankfully, it was a quick issue. This one is written by Brian Michael Bendis, duh, and it's also drawn by Ivan Reis with art also by Joe Prado, I do believe. And I actually was on the fence with this series, and I kind of felt that this third issue was going to be the one to see whether or not I was going to read any more going forward. And I gotta say, I still don't know where I stand with this series. It was an okay issue, not a whole lot of things happened. It looked great as always, and nothing Brian Michael Bendis wrote in there really offended me. There was actually a funny scene, but basically the planet Earth is in the Phantom Zone. I don't know how it happened, but it was when they had to capture Rogol Zaar in Man of Steel, Supergirl, Superman, and whoever else was with them. They sent him to the Phantom Zone, but then Earth somehow got in there. And all of Earth's heroes are getting sick as a result of it and can't really help out Kal-El. Meanwhile, Rogol Zaar is going around and getting denizens of the Phantom Zone, prisoners from Krypton from way back before it got destroyed. He's getting them together to mount an army to take out Superman. So, this was a pretty good issue. All of that stuff kept happening, and there was, like I said, a funny scene about like what happens like to Earth, you know, the space where Earth is usually in the universe. There's kind of a funny scene. So if you like, who's that one guy? You see Adam Strange out there, so that's kind of a cool scene. So fans of Adam Strange should definitely pick this one up because you probably don't have much to look forward to as far as that character is concerned. Anyway, Superman number 3 was an okay issue, and I guess I'll have to read issue number 4 to see if I'm going to keep on going on with it. I guess that's actually a good review for it since I was thinking of not continuing. So, Superman number 3, it was pretty good. There are some big titles coming out this week, and a few of them are actually my favorites. From IDW, we've got Dick Tracy number 1 coming out this week. It's going to be written by Lee Allred with art by Michael Allred with coloring by Laura Allred. All the Allreds are involved, and for some reason we've got Rich Tommaso, and he's great. He's done Dry County, Spy Seal, and a whole host of other things. And I'm really into the creators that are working on this book. And Dick Tracy, I've always, you know, watched things or read some of the strips back in the day, but big yellow overcoat. But as far as the creators working on this, I'm really excited to see where they're going to take this. Hopefully he can do something to jazz this character up so we can all get involved in it. Black Hammer Age of Doom number 5 comes out this week. It's written by Jeff Lemire, one of my favorite writers working in the business, with art by Dean Ornston. I always mess his name up. It's so hard for me to say his name. It's like 2 syllables, no Z's in it. And I have such a hard time. Okay. Ormston. Okay. At the end of the last issue, a big reveal occurred, which is basically everything we've been looking forward to finding out since we started reading Black Hammer all those years ago. 2 years ago, something like that. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to what's going to be going on in the series going forward. And if you haven't been checking out this series, you really should. Pick up Black Hammer. It's out in collection, and these issues are excellent. Black Badge number 2 comes out this week. It's written by Matt Kent with art by Tyler Jenkins, and it tells the story of a covert scout troop that has earned the secret achievement of the Black Badge. And these are kids that go out and run covert missions for the government. It's got spy intrigue and kids doing all sorts of dangerous stuff. If you're into that type of stuff, as I am, you should check this one out. Next up, we have a 3-issue miniseries from DC's new imprint Black Label. This is going to be Batman Damned #1, and it's written by Brian Azzarello with Lee Bermejo on art. They've worked together many a times, and this tells a story where Batman's main rival, the Joker, has been killed. Did Batman do it? We got to find out. There's going to be some interesting stuff, and John Constantine's along for the ride. So fans of the Hellblazer, really super awesome artwork, or just fans of Azzarello should definitely be checking. Oh, and Batman should be checking this one out. And the Return of Wolverine #1 hits the stands also this week. It's going to be written by Charles Soule with art, at least for this first issue, by Steve McNiven, and everyone's favorite hairy Canadian is back to slice fools up with heated claws. And if you're a fan of the most popular X-Men out there, then I recommend you check this one out, because it's been years we've been having to suffer with the old man Logan, and I'm getting sick of it. Sick of it, I tell you. Give me young man Logan. That's the one I want. It's the one everybody wants. And finally we're getting it in a 5-issue miniseries. Yay. Thank you for tuning into another episode. If you just can't get enough comic book reviews, you should check out on YouTube the Mutant Agenda. Cody gives good review, and he has Iceman #1 that came out last week up, so you should check it out. And until then, we'll see you next week.